When I spend time with my family in California, we've developed a little bit of a tradition. We eat as much of the best quality Mexican as we can, but I always fill up right before I'm going to get on the plane back home. It's just, it settles me in for a nice sleep on that plane. And this was the most recent dish that I had over there. Well, it's my version of it anyway. A chilaquiles, which is a Mexican baked breakfast. It's actually 2 recipes in one. I'm going to make a really simple salsa first to kick it off. I'm going to cut this capsicum into a fine dice. So you could use this simple salsa recipe for just about anything else. So with the salsa, you sort of don't want any of the main ingredients to necessarily stand out in terms of texture or size, which is why I'm making them extra fine. And in this case, day-old salsa or store-bought salsa is even acceptable if you get one that you know has got minimal additives. But when you see how simple this one is, I'm sure that you'll just make it yourself. So I'm going to put the onion in there first. We can put the capsicum in at the same time. Because we want all of this to soften together, we don't necessarily need any of it to get brown, but we do want it to soften and get translucent. So if we've got it on about a medium high to start with, we'll bring it up to temperature. So this simple salsa is pretty much 1 capsicum, 1 onion, some cayenne pepper. If you'd like it mild, you can leave it out altogether if you wish, and then some passata. We put our passata in there, it's thickened up slightly and it's allowed all of those veggies to soften. So it's quite traditional to eat the chilaquiles with really softened corn chips. So that's how I'm going to prepare it for you today. But if you wanted to have still a little bit of crunch in your corn chips, you would add them much later in the process, or you could serve them alongside. But this is a part of the fun of it. And now we're going to soften our corn chips. You can sort of sprinkle them in and then we'll make sure that they're completely submerged. So we've submerged our corn chips. They're going to have to cook for a little bit longer once we put our other ingredients in. So even though they're not quite soggy yet, I know that they're going to get there. So I'm going to add the beans. I didn't add these earlier because they're already cooked, so they really just need to be heated through. So I'm going to sprinkle them over the top. We're going to create 4 wells. So this is either 2 really generous portions of breakfast or 4 individual serves. So depending on who you're feeding, if they're growing, if they're an athlete, or maybe if they've had a big night even. This might be 2 servings, but otherwise we'll put 4 eggs in there. So you could serve it just like this, but I'm going to add a couple more toppings. So our eggs are just cooked. Yolks are still running, which is how I like it, so you can dip things into them and it sort of creates a secondary sauce. The corn chips are well and truly sort of become a part of that sauce. And if you think about the ingredients, it's sort of like it's become a bit of a polenta base if you sort of think about it that way. You could serve it just as is right now. We're gonna jazz it up a little bit. So I'm gonna add some avocado. And if you were serving this for 4, you can sort of dress each quarter so that no one misses out. And we can dress in between each egg there. Not usually one for symmetry in dishes, but I'll make an exception on this one if we're going to be serving 4. Now I've got some pulled pork. The recipe for this is going to be on the website as well. It is a very versatile base recipe, and would be called carnitas if we were talking about keeping in theme with our Mexican breakfast here. So again, I'm just gonna dress this in quarters. If you have access to some Mexican style cheeses or a queso fresco or something like that, you can use that. Today we're just gonna be using some sour cream. So again, I'm just going to sort of give each person a little bit of sour cream, as much or as little as you like. If you don't like sour cream, leave it off entirely. Some greenery, and the most typical greenery that we could think of for this kind of dish would be the coriander leaves. Now, if you were very waste conscious and you weren't going to use the stalks of the coriander, you could actually also put that into that base salsa recipe at the very beginning. So it's a nice use of it. But we can bring that with 4 forks to our table. Doesn't get much better than that. Our chilaquiles.